Hey everybody, today we're talking about PunisherMAX by Jason Aaron. This is volume 7 of the complete collection. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent. Today we're talking PunisherMAX by Jason Aaron. And I'm saying by Jason Aaron because there's like an omnibus out there. I think it also got reprinted or is getting reprinted very soon. Punisher by Jason Aaron. But basically, if you can find this, the complete collections, volume 7, has everything in that omnibus, which is issues 1 through 22 of the 2010 PunisherMAX series. And they called it Max because Max was part of the title, which is why it's maximum font on the front cover here of all the issues. But making fun of the title aside, this was an awesome read. So little background, if you have not read Punisher in a while, Punisher used to live in two different universes, right? There was the main Marvel Universe Punisher, and he didn't really have a book for a while. Like Marvel Knights brought back Punisher into the forefront in the early 2000s, and that was by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon, who had done Preacher before then. And you have Steve Dillon returning to this book here with a different writer, with Jason Aaron. But Garth Ennis they'd done that Marvel Knights series for, I guess, a couple of years, right? 36 issues, maybe something like that. So those are collected. And I have a video review of Welcome Back Frank up on the channel. My good friend Jim Afanis did, because it's one of the books I gave him to read. If you've watched the Punisher movie, the first one, it's very much based on that arc. It's a little silly. It's a little fun. Nothing bad about it. But Marvel then launched a line of comics called Max. And basically, it was the adult reader line, kind of like what DC Black Label was trying to do a few years ago before they just decided to make it more creator focused instead of like adult themes. But the Max thing, you had Punisher Max, you had Fury Max, you had War Machine Max, and these were all where you could have violence. That's where Alias comes from, the Max line. The first F word in a Marvel comic was in that one, where she's getting railed from behind by Luke Cage, all that set up in here. So Punisher had a long, I think 60 issues written by Garth Ennis of his Max line, which kind of took place outside the Marvel Universe. Basically in a universe where it was just Punisher killing bad guys, killing mafia guys, no superheroes, no capes, no tights, no flights, no nothing. And I have not read any of that, so can't talk about the quality of that. This takes place, I think, in the same kind of idea. There's no other Marvel characters. There's no Spider-Man, no Captain America, no Daredevil, all that stuff, because we're getting the introduction of the idea of a Kingpin, of Wilson Fisk. Bullseye makes a first appearance here, so to speak, in this alternate universe where I guess it could be like our universe per se, although you have some other things that pop up towards the end of Elektra shows up. She's just an assassin. There's not that much special to her. She serves an organization called The Hand, although they don't really lean into or hint at any supernatural things that The Hand does or has in the regular Marvel Universe, so that's much later. But in the beginning, this is just a guy who's been the Punisher for a long time, taking down a drug lord, or a kingpin, right? So that's just what's most fun about it. And I think the other thing, too, that's most fun about it is you have Steve Dillon, who not recently, but a couple years ago, he did pass away, unfortunately. And, his art is simple. It's not flashy, but it's very consistent. And I'm trying to find a page where there's not a lot of violence, which is hard to do in this book. But and if you've read Preacher, if you've read Welcome Back Frank, you know what his art looks like. He also did a run on Thunderbolts when Red Hulk was in charge of that. So he's done some superhero stuff before, but I really like Steve Dillon when he's doing this kind of non-superhero stuff. Like he also did some Wolverine origin stuff at the time also, which was kind of weird. I think it works best here, where he's just doing kind of this pseudo-realism in terms of the world, right? No superheroes, but just people talking, fighting, punching, gunfights, that kind of stuff. And there's not a lot of like 2-page spreads or anything like that. There's some full-page splashes. Again, trying to find a page where there's no violence or nudity, because that is throughout the book. But I think he's just good at like the basic, what you would call like basic cable police procedural stuff, like that kind of stuff. He is really, really strong at. His art is consistent. It's never failing. Like whoever's doing his inks here is awesome. I think he's doing his own. Yeah, he's doing his own inks. Artist Steve Dillon, so he's doing his own inks. Colors, Matt Hollingsworth does a great job here, making it feel moody and great. So there's a lot of fun to be had. If you've played the Punisher video game from the PS2, you might be interested in this story. It has that same level of kind of maximum violence, I would say, or, you know, really weird off-the-wall things. And that is the thing that Jason Aaron takes the most from Garth Ennis, from the Welcome Back Frank thing. This is one of the 3 Punisher stories that I've read and really enjoyed, and those are the ones I have on my shelf. Welcome Back Frank, this one, which I just picked up and read, and the one where they change the symbol to the devil and he becomes the leader of the hand, right? Another Jason Aaron story. So I thought this one was really fun. Like, it's a whole story about Frank being the end. This is basically the end of the PunisherMAX version of Frank Castle, because he does meet a final fate here, right? And I believe I had read something where, gosh, what was it? The Ennis run had ended where like he's like, he'll never be stopped, he never will. Well, you know, there is a definitive end here to this story, but I feel like it is cool to see an idea of like, hey, how would a Kingpin really work? How would Bullseye really work in the real world? You know, all this assassin stuff. There's still some stuff that's like got to be seen to be believed, or was, you know, a little funky, but all in all, it's really well done. The covers are by Dave Johnson. They're phenomenal every time you get one in the new issue. And I really like the way that they do this. Like, it says PunisherMAX number 13, tells you what the number is, so you know where you're at in the story, instead of as just a cover and you're like, I don't know what number issue this is. How do I highlight this? It's really difficult when you're doing a review when they don't put the issue numbers in there. But it is neat. Like, there's a definite, like a 4-arc structure here where you have the rise of the Kingpin, and then you have Bullseye when Kingpin's trying to take out Frank, and then you have Frank has to go to jail for a little bit for a mission, and he's reminiscing on his past here. That's called Frank. And then you have the last arc where it's called Homeless, and that's kind of the finale to the whole thing. So, again, it's really, really cool. Look at that beautiful cover by Dave Johnson of Elektra. Awesome, awesome stuff. So, I really liked it. Like, I'm not a huge Punisher guy, so your mileage may vary if you're a huge Punisher fan and haven't read this yet. But I as a non-Punisher fan, per se, you know what I mean? I really liked it. Like, I enjoyed the first movie with, Thomas Jane. Really enjoyed that one. I don't know if I gave the second movie, the Warzone one, a chance. I did like the first season of the Marvel show. I don't think I watched season 2 of that. So I'm not a huge Punisher guy per se, but I really enjoyed this one. But I think it has more to do with like I love Steve Dillon, and I think it has to do with just something about Steve Dillon being on Punisher again. Just brought me back to when I first read Welcome Back Frank, and I was like, oh, that's a whole lot of fun. This, to me, was a whole lot of fun. Again, 22 issues, it's rock solid. I loved it. It's really good. So this would be my other recommendation for people looking to get into Punisher. You want to read Punisher? Welcome Back Frank. You want to read more Punisher? PunisherMAX by Jason Aaron. So yeah. So good luck finding the trade paperback. I don't think you can. I way overpaid for this trade paperback. I probably could have paid the same amount of money for the oversized hardcover or omnibus, whatever you want to call it. But again, my shelves are sized for trade paperbacks. The only ones I have for omnibuses are like this one and this one below it are kind of the only ones that are spaced accordingly. So I'm not a huge omnibus guy for that reason, and they're more expensive. So yeah, I wanted something that was easy to read. So this was awesome. I bet it would read really great in that oversized format. So however you can find it, I definitely recommend it if you're looking for a really fun Punisher story. So yeah, that's my review of, technically, Punisher, the Complete Collection, Volume 7, PunisherMAX. But you can also call this a review of the Jason Aaron Punisher Omnibus or whatever, right? So there you have it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time in the Funny Pages.